It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Tyler Wideman, who is a professional basketball player for Sopron KC. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you today, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to play professional basketball?
Yeah, when I was younger, it was just something that I've always liked. I just always liked playing basketball. So when I was younger and found out that you can do that for an actual job and as a career, I think it was kind of just something that kind of just resonated with me and kind of just became like a passion or a drive for me as well.
What was your time like at Butler University?
It was pretty fun. Got to meet a lot of people, from coaches to players, people around the school. It's a very small school, so you feel kind of connected with the entire Butler community. So it was a pretty fun experience, though, for sure.
What was it like putting on the Butler Bulldogs jersey for the first time?
Yeah, so the first time would have been one of our exhibition games, and I actually had a concussion leading up to the game, so I thought I was out of the game. And then when I was in the training room doing, like, I guess, rehab, essentially stuff in the training room, coaches came in there and asked why I wasn't dressed, and I was playing that day. So that kind of made it a little bit more exciting aspect of like, oh, I thought I was going to miss out on the first college game, but then turns out I actually ended up playing. So it was pretty fun. I mean, you can't really, that's just all you think about as a kid, especially once you sign somewhere like that, you're just ready for the first game, just to experience the whole Hinkle atmosphere, everything that comes along with it.
What were some of your accomplishments at Butler?
You saying like individually or as like a team type thing?
Yes, individually.
Individually, I honestly don't even know. I'm sure I would have to look at it, but I never even really paid close attention to all the individual stuff, or like all the different records and things like that. Never really paid attention to it. Pretty more so was the sort of the side of like what the heck my team's doing in terms of how we're finishing up the year, who we're beating, who we're playing against. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's all you want is just bragging rights against your friends. So you could just talk crap and say, yeah, we beat you guys in college. So I think I kind of focused more on the team type goals and can't necessarily remember off the top of the head all this stuff individually wise at college. That's something I would have to look that up.
What was it like signing your first professional basketball contract?
It was good. It was a good feeling. Like, it's kind of like, okay, all the stuff you've been working for, kind of like one step closer to the ultimate goal. So it was pretty fun and a great experience in terms of getting that contract in and then finally signing it and then going over there. It's like it was nice. It was nice. It was a sigh of relief too.
What are some of the teams so far that you've played for professionally?
I played for my first year out. I was in Croatia. I played for Cedevita in Zagreb, and then my second year played in Israel for Ra'Anana, and last year played in Sopron in Hungary.
What is it like traveling the world playing in different countries?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, you get to just experience so much. And I think, honestly, everybody, if they could, needs to get a chance to just leave the country, because once you leave the country, like, you realize how well things are actually in the United States and how well we actually have it compared to other places around the world that we don't even really know about just because we're so engulfed in our own things here in the States. But I think going overseas, man, it's a great experience. It gives you a greater appreciation for all the stuff you have back at home, and kind of just being able to experience different cultures and dive into those different cultures full head on. It's you can't put it into words.
What was the transition like for you from going from college to overseas playing professional versus going into the NBA or NBA G League?
I would say the biggest adjustment, honestly, for me, especially going overseas, was just the language barrier and just getting used to how the culture. Because I think at the end of the day, basketball is basketball. So, like, I think it's just the stuff outside of the basketball where it can kind of mess players up here and there, if so. But I would say just the life outside of basketball was probably the biggest adjustment, just getting used to the language barrier, how things were ran in Croatia, like the type of, just the way they did things over there, because everywhere is different. But, walking to a new place like that, it's a little bit tougher if they speak a different language versus you just going to a whole different city in the States. Like, we still can speak English to people in the States. So everything's the same in the States. So I would just say that was the biggest thing, just the culture shock, for sure.
What was it like the first time you put on your first professional jersey?
Oh, it was fun. I mean, it was just like, wow, it was nice because it's like, all right, now we're finally getting somewhere with this. So then it's just kind of like, all right, let's get the season going. So I think we did like media day after like the last day of preseason. So it was kind of like a bonus. All right, we just finished preseason, which was terrible. So now we get back and then we take pictures. All right, it was all right. The preseason, all the running and everything was worth it. You get there, you see all your uniform and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a nice experience though.
What was that experience like on media day, taking the photos and getting to see your new gear and stuff?
Yeah, it was different. I mean, I think everything is kind of a learning experience, but you never really know. Especially, I feel like as your first year out going somewhere overseas, you never really know kind of what to expect. So I was kind of just going along with the flow, just kind of just taking it all in, seeing what different guys were doing and what they weren't doing and things of that nature. Versus compared to like college, everything's kind of, I feel like in college, it's kind of structured. So as an incoming freshman, you have the older guys on their team, or you have the sophomores on the team. So you have guys in front of you who can help you walk down the right path to just figure out what you're walking into, versus kind of there, you're kind of just like going along with the flow, just seeing what happens. You really don't know what's really next in terms of what's going on.
What are some of your accomplishments while playing professional?
I would say, honestly, it's just been improving every year, whether it's being like shooting or like free throw percentage or conditioning or body. I just think every year just coming back with something new added to the table helps out a lot. Like, I would say probably after my first year in Croatia, I went to Israel. I was shooting at an incredible clip. So that was just nice to have that, like, not reassuring, but kind of like that, like, all right, you can shoot outside of just workouts. Just because in college I didn't get a chance to shoot or anything like that, but just something I always kept working on and just working on different skills. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you'd rather have a bunch of skills that you have access to use, than just waiting for the coach or whoever to tell you to use those skills. So it's better to always be, I would say, overly prepared than underprepared.
How was it like playing in the summer of 2019 for the U.S. national team?
It was pretty fun. I mean, it was a great experience and a great group of guys too. So it was kind of like, that was the summer right before I went to Israel too. So I think that all kind of played a factor into how well of a season I had in Israel, because it was kind of like the reassuring aspect that I brought up in terms of, okay, you just played here, so going to play here, you could do that too. So, but I think overall the USA experience, though, it was something you can't like. It's just something you think about as a kid, just being able to represent your country in another country for sure. So we were in South America, so we were in Peru, and just going to Peru in itself was an adventure. And then once you got there, it's just to see the culture and how things are. And then then just to experience like the athlete village, and then being able to like walk around the athlete village, trade like country pins with different countries and stuff like that, or even people from who were a part of USA programs, we would still trade like badges with those guys and girls because ours would say USA basketball and theirs may say swimming or gymnastics or something like that. So just accumulating all those different pins from different sports and different countries, it was probably I would probably say one of my favorite memories, because then me and all my teammates were doing it too. So it just kind of became like an in-house competition to see who would get the most pins or who had the better pins by the end of the trip. So I would say everything off of the court was probably the best experience, just because just to be around those guys. I think we were together for probably like a couple of weeks. So just being around those guys, going to that little training camp, then going over to that country, it's just you out there. So we got a lot of bonding time for sure.
What was it like playing with some of the legends on the national team, like Kevin Durant?
Huh? Oh no, no. He wasn't. He wasn't there. It was for the Pan American Games. So the USA, they decided to because Coach Ed Cooley has a good relationship with USA Basketball, and USA Basketball has a good relationship with the Big East. They decided to pick the Big East to represent the USA national team in the Pan American Games. So they just picked up a bunch of guys from the Big East, and Coach Cooley was the head coach, and then Coach Willie from Seton Hall was the assistant. We had a Coach Brown, who coaches at Brown, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember if he's still there or not. He was an assistant as well. So we had a good group of coaching guys around us as well. So that's why it made it a little bit easier in terms of being a little bit more comfortable, because I played against some of the guys that were on the team. Then I knew the coaches, knew the coaching staff. So that was pretty fun. But I mean, in terms of like the actual competition wise, it was fun too, because when we would be watching film or scouting report on a certain country, it would be the same guys that were playing in the Olympics 4 years before against the actual, like you said, like the Kevin Durant's, LeBron, all those guys. So it was just crazy. It's just crazy to see.
Of course, what are some of your future plans in your basketball career?
Really just trying to get as best as I can personally, and then let the chips fall where they may fall. The ultimate end goal for sure is to play in the NBA. And that's just every kid's dream. Like, you want to play at the highest level you can. But with knowing how the basketball world works, I know it's a lot of other high leagues that are highly respected too. But for me personally, it's just being the best that I could be, and then letting the chips fall where they fall. But at the end of the day, if I can feel like I'm the best player I could be and can hold my own anywhere, then that's all that really matters for me.
Who are some players that you implement your game after?
I would say a few guys that I always looked up to is Kevin Garnett for one. Big fan of Tim Duncan. Big fan of LeBron. And big fans of KD. So like those four guys are probably like my main. Those are my guys for sure, because I would say I mean, you got the KG and the Tim Duncan aspect of being able to score in the block, back to the basket or face up, can knock down the 17-foot jumper, and then you have KG aggressiveness, Tim Duncan calmness, then you throw in LeBron's IQ and LeBron's playmaking ability, and then just KD's ability to score the ball at all three levels. I mean, if you don't like Kevin Durant's game, then I don't know what type of basketball player you really like there, because he could score at all three levels. So those four guys are like my main. Those are my guys for sure.
What are some of your game day routines and rituals that you have?
Always got to get in the morning or whenever. Like if it's a home game, I'm trying to get to the gym in the morning, get some shots up, knock out like my game day routine for shooting. It's just like some form shots, getting the feel around the baskets, ball handling, and then just like some spot shooting and different moves I may use that I know I may use during the game. Try to do that for like an hour, just making like 5 or 10 for me spot type things, just to feel comfortable. Then back home, throwing on like some Normatec boots, try to get some recovery in. Drinking a lot of water, a lot of Pedialyte. Then probably I would say, depending on like if it's a home game, we would probably have to be there 3 hours to 2.5 hours before. So whatever the time frame is, if the coach says we have to be there at 2 hours before, then I try to be there at least like 2.5 before, because I still want to get my own personal time on the court to knock out the same routine I just did in the morning, but knock it out before the game. So that way, once the rest of the team comes out there and they start shooting around, then I already got everything I need to get done out of the way. So then by the time game time comes around, and I'm back good to go. So after I knock out my pregame shooting, I just go back to the locker room, hang out in there, eat a couple snacks, get some more stretching in, but then just lock in for the game at that point.
What advice would you give upcoming college athletes that are playing basketball looking to play professionally?
I would say just keep chasing your dreams. That's, I would say, the biggest thing. I mean, the mind is a powerful thing. So you could talk yourself into something easily. You could talk yourself out of something easily. So I would just say, just staying locked in on whatever aspect or goal you have. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of places around this world where you could go play basketball and make some money. So I would say just use basketball, like use it to the best of your ability that you can. Go see other countries, take advantage of that or whatever. But yeah, I would just say just stay locked in on it and just stay committed. I mean, it's a long process. Like, it's a long process for sure. So I think that's where sometimes that gets lost in the transition between whatever level, college, high school, then to the NBA or to a professional level, is everything that's in between. But it's constantly a nonstop, just not getting bored with the basics, kind of just sticking to routine and just trusting it. And then, just like I said earlier, just being overly prepared. So whenever you're called upon, wherever it may be, you're ready.
What advice would you give upcoming future professional athletes playing basketball now?
I would just say, know your worth. Especially at this day and age, there's so much stuff going on that people are looking to market and but market people. And especially with the platform nowadays, there's so many outlets that I think athletes or just anyone really could take advantage of on the social media aspect side of things, and just being connected with different people, and not to be afraid to ask somebody for help. I mean, if you don't know what to do, or you're struggling in a certain area, don't be afraid, or don't be too prideful to ask for somebody for help. Like, that's, at the end of the day, it's only could help you. I mean, if you ask for help, but if you don't ask, nobody ever know you need help. So I would just say, just don't be too prideful. If you need help with something, get help with it. Break down a bunch of film and just be honest with yourself. That's the biggest thing for sure, just being honest with yourself.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Social media, on Twitter, they can find me at TRW31_45. And then for Instagram, they can find me at Big Woog. So it's BIGWUG_4. And then those are the two platforms I mostly use a lot for the most part. But yeah, those are the two social things I use a lot for the most part.
Thank you again, Tyler Wideman, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with your professional basketball career.
Thanks, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Tyler, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.